Hi, welcome to the Sprint 103 review. Next slide, please. So I'll go over this sprint statistics, if I can speak here. Carol will give us an update on the community. Harpreet will cover the UI. Adam talk about providers. Tina automate. Joe V will give us some platform news. Alberto will do the rest. I had to do that for Greg. And then Chris will do documentation. Next slide, please. So there were 209 PRs merged. The integration test was leading again this time, very close with UI Classic. So it's good to see the UI is still chugging away, increasing the framework test, which is good for the future. Next slide, please. This one, oops, okay. This one I was a little surprised with. I thought we would start on an uptick again. We still dropped the number of merges this last sprint down to 235. I'll have to keep an eye on see if that is a new trend or it should be starting back up again. Next slide, please. And again, fixing bugs was the biggie as we came down to the new release. So that was normal. Enhancements and then the documentation. Yeah. Okay. And so that's kind of a normal mix there for near the end of a release. Next slide, please. The only thing I'd noticed on here was in UI Classic duplication number had a big bump there. I'm not sure what that was about, but take a look. Next slide, please. And over to Carol.
Can you all hear me? Because I was having some audio issues.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, thanks. So for community update, we have announced the Hammer general availability. So it's officially Hammer time. I know it's gonna it's gonna be. I've been hearing that a lot. So anyway, thanks to everyone in the team and community for making this happen, and so let's celebrate. And we have a blog post that features XLab that talks about the provider operations with Ansible. So they actually wrote like a series of 3 blog posts. So ours is just summarizing them, and they have more details on their blog, which is linked through our blog post. And then Eric has been very helpful in fixing some of the bugs with the website. So there were missing libvirt images, so they have been added, and also broken links and buttons and things like that. So thanks for that. And there's actually still stuff going on. So hopefully we'll have a better usable website very soon. And then quite a few events coming up this couple of weeks. I'm currently here in Brno myself for the DevConf, and starting Friday to Sunday, we will have a ManageIQ booth. And so those of you who are around, hopefully you have registered because it's totally sold out. And you can come and take a look. And following 3 are actually all David's participating in these 3 events. Actually, this event slide could be just like David's events because he's also in DevConf helping me with the demo. So, and he's speaking in 3 following events in Brno, Brussels, and Melbourne. The 2 Ruby events, he's going to be speaking about PER and tunneling, smuggling, TCP traffic, and in Brussels he will talk about Patternfly and ManageIQ, so open source design, the component-based design system. So check out the links for more information. And if you can attend them, please go and support our teammates. All right, that's all for this sprint. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Across all of the UI repos. Out of that, 20 were bug fixes, 6 enhancements, 5 technical debt, and so on. Few of the UI PRs are being covered by other groups, and I have some of the main bug fixes listed here. A bug was fixed in Automate Explorer to restrict add of embedded methods to itself. And when redirected to a provider dashboard view, breadcrumbs were missing there, so that was fixed. And in Reports Explorer under Dashboards Accordion, an issue was fixed to load the right cell properly when a selection was made in the tree. And as far as enhancements are concerned, a status attribute was added to Cloud Volume Detail screen. This information already existed on the Cloud Volume list view. And on infrastructure, cloud, and physical infrastructure provider list views and detail screens under configuration menu, 2 new buttons were added to pause and resume selected providers. And on the V2V side, continue to plan link that was removed in earlier sprint has been restored now. And on the planning wizard for Rev target cluster warning, code was updated to use conversion hosts API. And also on the planning wizard, 2 new CSV columns were added, flavor and security groups. Also, those 2 new columns display warnings associated with selected values in these columns. Next slide, please. So here you can see the V2V screen with 2 new columns for flavors and security groups. And also on the right side, you can see the warnings. That's all I have for the UI.
Okay, so for providers, this sprint we had 7 PRs for OpenStack, 4 for Overt, and then a sprinkling among the rest of the repos. Next slide. OpenStack improved the handling of EMS refresh for cases where optional services are not actually enabled. It turned out that there were dependencies on services that are not required to be there, and if they were turned off, then the refresh was failing. And so they improved the cases where those services are missing. They also improved the method of getting the OpenStack tenant. They get it from the stack parameters now, because when they were getting the tenant from the stack, it was always admin, which wasn't really helpful. They also improved event collection, reading back, I believe, 15 seconds in order to improve handling of missing events if the event catcher went down. So now when the event catcher comes back up, it looks a few seconds prior to catch any missing events that it missed. On the Overt side, they changed provisioning a new VM. Originally, the disk name for the new VM was coming from the template name that it was being provisioned from, and now it's going to be the name of the VM that's going to be provisioned, which is a lot helpful. And they also improved test coverage for targeted graph refresh, specifically for targeting VMs and templates. Previously, there was a bug fix for the host link being missing, and so we fixed that this sprint, added more test coverage that would have caught that. And that's it. Over to Tina for Automate.
Thanks, Adam. Good morning. We had 10 PRs merged this sprint. Drew Yu made a change to allow only stacks to be added as a resource to orchestration services. Other service types allow VMs and other object types to be added as resources. Drew also resolved a custom button issue where specifying a message attribute in the attribute value section overrode the value of the object message, which affects resolution. Drew fixed an issue with the Automate system domain reset where ManageIQ was the only domain included, where Red Hat should have been included as well. Patrick modified the domain export to remove the options hash and embedded methods field when empty to enable domains to be used in older systems. Drew Yu resolved the retired task creation issue for bundled services and added a retired state to resolve a validation error. That's it for Automate. Next slide, over to Joe.
Thank you, Tina. Apologize for my slight laryngitis, first off. Anyway, this sprint, the platform team merged 24 PRs. For enhancements, Keenan and Libor continued the effort of improving our test infrastructure. Julian made a migration enhancement to remove the OpenStack Cinder event worker rows. Keenan made multiple enhancements to improve our SQL layout and access. And Brandon removed some unnecessary code from our update request status processing. For technical debt, Nick C. removed our built-in ManageIQ password handling code and transitioned us to use a standalone MIQ password gem. And Libor updated the user deletion path for ops RBAC to leverage the super admin user method. Next slide, please. For bugs this sprint, Yuri made 2 related PRs to fix a bug where user and group information was being overwritten when importing a report. Keith fixed a bug in our README to reflect the correct documentation build command as ASCII binder without the underscore. Keith also fixed a bug by clarifying the policy create towhat inclusion validation message. Joar fixed a bug by allowing event notification to be triggered off disk usage on the MIQ log files. Joe also fixed a bug where the automate model and service dialogues were not included in log collections for NFS and Samba types. Libor fixed a bug where in some multi-tenant environments, the tenant admin could erroneously edit the child tenant rule. Libor also fixed a bug to correct chargeback rate names as displayed on the chargeback reports. Brandon fixed an issue where when nested file loads failed, the error message indicated the wrong file, the failing file. And lastly, Nick C. continued our Ruby version bump effort. And without pause, we'll get on to the Alberto with the rest of the story.
Thanks, Joe.
Couldn't resist. Never gets old.
Okay. So for the API, we had one enhancement this sprint. David H. added support for UI session authentication. So that complements our, kind of basic auth and token-based authentication. So if none of those are present, so basic token or system token auth, we look at the UI session cookie, and that uses the same VMDB session one defined by the UI and memcached, and it makes sure it's all secure with the CSRF token validation. So with that enhancements, there's lots of cleanup on the UI side, getting rid of like 100 lines plus of JS authentication code, which is a good thing. So that's it for the rest. So off to next.
Hi, for documentation in this sprint, we had a total of 19 PRs merged, 14 of which were enhancements, the rest went against bugs. Some of those highlights are we added some instructions on how to upgrade codified instances of CloudForms. We've added a procedure on migrating VMs. We've corrected the command for stopping pods, and we've removed info on provisioning hosts. That's it. Next slide, please.
Okay, that concludes the Sprint 104 review. I can hear myself. We'll see everybody back here in 2 weeks for the review. Thank you. Oh, that was the 103 review we concluded. Sorry, ahead of myself.
You can hear yourself. Now you know how the rest of this bit.
The rest of us?